Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful, fantastic day. Today's upload is going to be a video on me talking about who will see the coldest October 2018. So October is a month that is fully dedicated to the fall. It is a month where a lot of change happens during this month of October. Many areas across the Midwest, East Coast, even the West, all across the United States see their first frost. Some areas even see their first snow. Many areas that have trees lose foliage, change colors. It's a beautiful month, and it's a month that includes Halloween. So I will be doing who will see the coldest blank and who will see the snowiest blank for months of October, November, December, January, and February. So stay tuned for that, and let's just jump into this. However, before we jump even further into this, consider subscribing to my channel, consider liking the video. You may be wondering why to subscribe to my channel. If you're an old returning viewer, but you're not subscribed yet, I'm just reminding you that the subscribe button is there for a reason. It really helps me out a lot. You have no idea how much it helps me out. Said it in the last video. It helps out. It helps me do a monumental task at this. So please consider doing that. If you are a new viewer, have never witnessed my channel before, have never seen it, check out my channel, check out my videos, and decide for yourself. So first off, what we need to look at is the ENSO or ENSO Outlook. So an ENSO Neutral is favored through August through October 2018. So that does include October, with an El Nino favored thereafter. Chances for an El Nino are 65 to 70% during Northern Hemisphere winter 2018-2019. So you can see right here. Well, okay, so right here, this is basically where we are right now. September, October, November and are the best chances, or no, sorry, September, October, November. This is where we are, October, because the month in the middle is the one that's mostly it's aimed at. So you can see we have around a 45% chance of a neutral and around a 51% chance of an El Nino. At this point and at this rate, it does seem that we will be looking at a neutral. So if you're wondering, what is a neutral? What on earth does this even mean, any of this? Well, ENSO neutral pattern, ENSO neutral winter pattern looks something like this. You can see cold polar jet stream across the north, especially centered across the east, Midwest, Northeast, and wet and warm across the south, with a bunch of big storms across the East Coast and West. So again, this is for the winter, and I don't know about you, but in my mind, October is not necessarily a winter month. So in order to do this, if October, I mean, there is really no defined ENSO neutral winter pattern. It starts from November, ends in March. I mean, it probably includes some of October. October may be calculated into this winter pattern. However, we're not sure, so I really don't want to get into this without knowing 100% sure what I'm getting into. So what we need to look at, assuming this is winter pattern, not including October, is years. So we're gonna be creating analogs, basically our own analogs, compiling several years together, seeing what those years look like, and those years must have been neutral, and what they look like during October, and then we could get a basic idea of what to expect. So we are looking at the past ENSO years, all the way to 2006, so more than a decade back. And if we were to look at over September, October, November, that's the time frame we're interested in. You can see 2008 was neutral, 2012 it is a neutral, 2013 was neutral, and 2014 was neutral for the month of October at least. So if we were to now look into the month of October, we compiled all those years together: month of October 2008, 2012, 2013, 2014. You could see that it's nothing really too alarming in terms of the cold weather. You could see some maybe below average in terms of temperatures for the parts of the southeast, but overall a good chunk is around average, and a massive chunk, actually, I would say, is slightly to above normal in terms of temperatures. Nothing extreme, maybe the northeast, but again, not each neutral year is alike, or every neutral year is different in terms of, we're not talking about just the month of October, so I should be saying every neutral month is different. But this does give you a good idea, but we need to look a little bit further in order to get the better details. So what we need to look at now is Noah's Outlook, and Noah's Outlook basically tells us what what Noah thinks will happen during the month of October. So what we have here is 0. 0.5 month lead, so it's kind of 0.5 month outlook, or that was back then because this hasn't been updated yet. So we are almost in October. I think as I'm recording this video, it's September 29th, and you could see that what they're predicting is below average for, I guess, the central part of the country, and equal chances for quite a big chunk extending from the upper northeast into the southern U.S., up into the northern U.S. The western part should be above average, and the southeastern part should be slightly above average. And you can see Alaska is just absolutely crazy in terms of above average temperatures, so not really expecting cold conditions across October for those, or below average conditions, I should say. Again, is NOAA 100% right? Is NOAA 100% accurate? Definitely not. NOAA obviously has its flaws. NOAA isn't perfect. However, we still need to look at it because it's a fairly good indicator of what's to come. So, may not make sense what I'm saying right now, but hopefully you understood what I just said there. But if I were making this forecast for NOAA, I would extend this equal chances a little bit farther to the west, because looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, I'm not going to show it here, but the 8 to 14 day outlook and just some of the maps, the GFS, CMC, what they're showing is some very chilly conditions across the northern, almost northwestern part of the country for a good chunk of October. So I'm not sure if this warm air here above average is very appropriate for this area, but we'll just need to wait and see what actually happens. So now, drumroll please, this is my final who will see the coldest October temperatures, drumroll please. And this is what I think it will look like. So I always say this, it's not about the quality of the map, it's the quality of the forecast. Now, I know this isn't the best, but it gives us a good idea. So, and you can see first off the bat, when you look at this, you see quite a big chunk of the United States in above average conditions. I mean, you can see the yellows and the oranges. And I actually went fairly conservative on the cold with this forecast. I'm not sure if there'll be equal chances all the way down into southern Texas in terms of temperatures. I was a little bit disagreeing with that on NOAA. And you can see that for the below average temperatures, I went all the way into western Montana, or western central Montana, while they went into the warm already into western central. So there's some differences. Mainly, I do think that the coldest temperatures will be across the northern part of the country in states like North Dakota, northern South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, or at least northwestern parts of Wisconsin, parts of the UP Peninsula of Michigan, and Montana, and parts of Wyoming. I think those areas will see the coldest temperatures compared to average by far this year, due to the fact that looking at the patterns that I discussed in the past several videos, there's just this pattern of these troughs just digging into these parts of the woods, and that is bringing much below average temperatures. So the jet stream's running kind of like this, and that will be actually going on for quite a bit of time into October, leading parts of the northern plains with much below average conditions in terms of temperatures. You could see the blue is covering a good chunk of the Midwest, the plains, even parts of the southwest south. You could see in the panhandle of Texas, panhandle of Oklahoma, and northwestern parts of New Mexico are all, and many other states are all in blue. That is because I don't think the cold air, like I was showing in a couple of videos back, sorry about that, the cold air will be kind of shooting its tentacles down south here, trying to get down, but not necessarily getting its full brunt down here. So I don't think it'll be quite as cold as up here. And same thing up to the north. I think the cold air will be able to sink into those northern parts, but not much further south. In terms of the yellow colors, which is marked in the northwest, basically a huge chunk of the northwest, if not all of it, and kind of like mid-central south, running along those lines, I do think it will be slightly too above average, because there will be many storms that will be riding up, and this is just so characteristic of characteristic of fall. We have these big storms riding from the southwest, bring up a ton of warm air into the northeast and even parts of the plains and or Midwest. And after that, we see very cold temperatures behind it, and they don't necessarily make it their way down far south. So that's why these yellows are. Sorry, this is why these areas are in the yellow. Now, these areas are in the orange due to the fact that I think, again, there will be plenty of tropical moisture, Gulf moisture. There could even be some influence from the Hurricane Rosa, I think. Will be bringing much warmer conditions, much more buoyant, thunderstorm-prone conditions, and I just don't think cold air will be necessarily infiltrating those areas. So that is basically it for today's video. Hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you decided whether to subscribe to my channel or not. And I'll catch you all guys on the next episode.